The air in the slave market was thick with smoke, sweat, and despair. Dim lights flickered overhead, and cold steel cages lined the long corridor. Behind each cage was a life, broken, silent, waiting. Among them sat a young alien woman with silver eyes and blue-gray skin, holding a small child close to her chest. Her name was Lyra. Lyra was not always a slave. She was once a teacher on her peaceful home planet, Valari Prime. But after the war, the humans came. Or rather, the ones who profited from war. They didn't come to save, they came to take. Her planet fell. Her people were captured. And Lyra, like so many others, was brought here a cold. Underground auction facility on a human colony called Station Blackhold. She didn't care what happened to her anymore. All she wanted was for her baby to live. The child was silent, barely. A year old, weak from hunger. There wasn't enough food in the holding cells. No one cared about the children of slaves until now. A loud voice echoed through the steel walls. Next on the auction block, Lot 42, young Valari, female, educated, strong, fertile. Comes with a bonus. The auctioneer laughed. A baby girl. The crowd of buyers, mostly humans, some wealthy aliens, leaned forward. Some smiled, others licked their lips. A few took out their credits. Lyra stepped out of the cage. She stood straight, her chin high, even as her arms trembled, holding the child. She wasn't doing this for herself. She was doing it for the baby. If someone bought her, the child might eat, might live. Opening bid to 1,000 credits. The auctioneer yelled. Voices shouted. The bids went up. 1,500. 2,000, 3,000. And then someone stepped forward. A man in a long black coat. His face was hidden under a hood. He didn't speak. He simply raised his hand. 5,000. The auctioneer announced. Surprised, the room fell quiet. No one countered. No one dared. Sold. Lyra clutched her child tightly as the buyer approached. She expected pain, chains, commands. She had been warned that humans were cruel to female slaves. She didn't care what happened to her. She only prayed her baby would survive. The man said nothing as he led her away. They walked through quiet corridors. No guards followed them. He opened a door, motioned for her to go in, and stepped behind her. The door hissed closed. She looked around, confused. This wasn't a slave's quarters. It was a private apartment, warm, clean. There was food on the table, blankets, even a medical kit. She turned around, holding her baby tighter. "What do you want from me?" she asked in a soft voice. "Won't fight. Just please feed her first." The man slowly removed his hood. He was human, yes, but his eyes were kind. Tired, but kind. "My name is Elias," he said. Lyra said nothing. He moved slowly, not wanting to scare her. He opened a food packet, poured warm liquid into a small bowl, and handed it to her. She quickly fed the child, who drank as if her life depended on it because it did. After a moment, Elias said quietly, "I didn't buy you to hurt you." Lyra froze. Elias sat down in a chair, hands open, voice calm. "I was a soldier once. I fought in the Valari War. I saw what we did, too. Your people. I couldn't stop it then. But maybe I can save one person now. Maybe two." Lyra stared at him, trying to read his face. "You're not like the others." "No," Elias said, "but I was, and I'm trying to make it right." She didn't believe him. Not yet. But her baby had food now, warmth, and she was still alive. That was enough for now. Outside the walls of the apartment, Galaxy still turned. War still raged. Slaves were still bought and sold. But here, in this small corner of Station Blackhold, something strange was happening. A human had bought a slave, and instead of using her, He chose to protect her. Lyra didn't sleep the first night. She sat on the edge of the soft bed, holding her baby close. Her eyes stayed fixed on the door. What if this was a trick? What if the man Elias was just pretending to be kind? She had seen men like him before, gentle at first, cruel later, but nothing happened that night. No one touched her. No one gave orders. The room stayed warm, quiet. Her child slept peacefully, belly full for the first time in days. Morning came with soft light through the fake window, a screen showing a sunrise on Earth. Lyra had never seen Earth, but it looked beautiful, peaceful. A lie, maybe, but a comforting one. Elias knocked gently on the door. "Can I come in?" Lyra didn't answer. She didn't say no either. He stepped inside slowly, holding a tray. There was food. Water, baby milk. "I won't stay long," he said softly. "Just wanted to make sure you both eat." He set the tray down and backed away. Lyra stared at him. "Why are you doing this?" Elias looked tired. He sat down in the corner of the room, far from her. "Because I've done too many bad things. I watched people like you get sold, beaten, taken. I followed orders. I said nothing." "She didn't speak," he continued. "I had a daughter once. She died during the war. Maybe if someone had helped her." He looked away. Lyra didn't know what to say. She still didn't trust him. But her child was alive, and her arms didn't hurt. That was more kindness than she'd seen in weeks. After Elias left, Lyra slowly fed the baby. Then she looked around the room again. The bed was soft. The air smelled clean. She found clothes, simple but warm. There was even a small book in the drawer with pictures of animals. Was this real? Was this freedom? No, not yet. She was still in the slave zone. Still on Station Blackhold. Someone still owned her, but Elias had not touched her. Had not even looked at her the way others did, and that confused her. That afternoon, Elias returned. He brought a tablet. "I thought you might want to use this," he said. "It has books, music, some news from your homeworld." Lyra's breath caught Valari Prime. He nodded. "What's left of it?" She hesitated, then reached out slowly. Her fingers brushed the edge of the tablet. It lit up. She saw her world bombed, burning, but still there, still fighting. Tears filled her eyes. Elias said nothing. He only sat in silence. Later that day, Lyra asked, "What happens to us now?" Elias looked at her. "I want to help you. Escape." Lyra stared at him, heart pounding. "That's impossible." "Not if we're careful," he said. "I've been planning it. You're not the only one. There are others. Women, children. I've bought as many as I can over the years. I've been hiding them, one by one." Lyra blinked. "You're smuggling slaves out." He nodded once. "I know it's not enough to fix what I did in the past, but it's something. Why tell me this now? 'Cause I need to know if you're ready," he said. "You can stay here as long as you want. You and your baby will be safe. But if you want freedom, real freedom, it will be dangerous." Lyra looked down at her daughter. She remembered the cold cage, the hungry nights, the eyes of the buyers. She looked back at Elias. "When do we leave?" A small smile crossed his face. "Soon, very soon." But outside the apartment, trouble was growing. The station security had noticed Elias's spending. One guard, a man named Carvin, had started asking questions. Too many questions, and soon, Lyra and her baby wouldn't be safe anymore. The quiet days did not last, though Elias kept Lyra safe. The walls around them were not made of trust or steel. They were made of lies and time. And both were running out. Station Blackhold was a dangerous place. Slaves were watched. Buyers were monitored. Nobody just vanished, not without someone noticing, and someone had. Elias sat in his private room, staring at a blinking message on his comm screen. Investigation, unusual activity logged. Interview required. His jaw tightened. Carvin. Again, the station guard had been snooping around his transactions. Elias had purchased 3 women in the last cycle. All young, all alone, all supposedly for labor use, but none had been seen again. Elias was supposed to be a buyer, a user, a monster like the others. But he wasn't. He was a smuggler now, a traitor to the system, and if Carvin got too close, everyone he had saved, including Lyra and her baby, would be in danger. Back in the hidden room, Lyra felt the tension in the air. Elias visited less often. His smiles had faded. His words were short now. Measured the baby cried more. She could feel her mother's fear. Lyra paced the room. She looked at the vent in the corner. Was it a way out? She had no map, no weapons. But she knew one thing. She would not go back in a cage. Never again. Then one night, Elias returned, his face pale, his steps fast. "We leave tonight," he said. Lyra froze. "What happened?" "Security is watching me now," Elias said. "They'll come here soon. We have one chance." Lyra grabbed her small bag and the baby. "What do we do?" Elias opened the hidden door behind the bookshelf. A narrow tunnel led into darkness. "We go through the waste tunnels. It smells. It's tight, but it leads out. Out to where?" "To the refugee ships docked in Sector D." "That's impossible," Lyra whispered. "Not if we move fast." They entered the tunnel. The air was thick and foul. The baby whimper Ed. Elias led the way with a dim flashlight. Lyra followed, clutching her child close. They crawled for hours, knees bleeding, lungs coughing. Rats skittered in the dark. Pipes hissed with steam. Somewhere above, alarms started to ring. "They know," Elias said. "We need to run now." They reached a junction. One tunnel went left, the other down. Down leads to the outer vents. Elias said, "It's closer, but guarded." Lyra looked at her child. "We go down." They emerged into the underbelly of Sector D. Lights flashed red. Sirens wailed. A voice echoed through the station. "Illegal movement detected. Sector locked down in effect." Elias swore, "We're out of time." They ran. Lyra's legs burned. The baby cried. Ahead, 2 guards blocked the path. Elias didn't stop. He tackled the first guard, knocking him into the wall. The second raised a shock rifle. "Go," Elias shouted to Lyra. She hesitated. "No, run." She ran. Behind her, she heard the sound of fists, metal, and a scream. She didn't look back. Lyra reached the ship dock. The refugee ship loomed. Ahead, rusty, old but real. A man stood by the ramp. "Name?" She gasped, holding her baby tight. "No name. Please, just let me in." He looked at her. Then at the crying child, he stepped aside. Lyra climbed aboard. The doors closed behind her. She turned to look through the small window. But Elias never came. Not that night, not ever. Inside the ship, Lyra collapsed. Her child nestled into her chest. Tears ran down her cheeks, but she made no sound. She had lost everything again, but this time she'd also gained something: freedom, real, painful. Earned freedom, and a promise to herself: she would live. She would raise her daughter, and she would never forget the man who gave them both a second chance. Lyra sat alone in the dim, shaking ship. The engines hummed beneath her feet. The baby slept in her arms, finally at peace. But Lyra wasn't at peace. Elias hadn't made it. She kept telling herself, maybe he found another exit. Maybe he escaped in time, Maybe he was already off the station. But her heart told her the truth. He was gone. The refugee ship was crowded. Dozens of faces. Some human, some alien. All broken in some way. All running from something. Lyra had no money. No ID. Nothing but her child and the name Elias had given her. Say nothing. Look small, stay quiet. She did just that. A woman named Rena helped her find a small bed space. Rena had dark skin, silver tattoos, and tired eyes. First time. Off Black Hold? Rena asked. Lyra nodded. Yes. Lucky you made it. Most don't. Lyra looked down. I wasn't alone. Rena touched her shoulder gently. None of us were, until we had to be. Days passed. The ship drifted through deep space, heading toward a border station called Nova Bridge. It was known for processing refugees, giving some papers, others jobs, and some. Nothing at all. Lyra didn't care. She just wanted her baby to be safe. But trouble followed her, even into the stars. On the 5th day, a message crackled through the ship. Nova Bridge reports a security scan match. Refugee vessel must stop and prepare for inspection. Gasps filled the corridors. People whispered in fear. A scan match meant someone on board had been flagged. Rena pulled Lyra aside. Did anyone see you leave Black Hold? Only the guards who chased us, Lyra said softly. And Elias? He's gone. Then they may have your face. Your data, you need to hide. Rena smuggled Lyra and the baby into a storage chamber deep in the lower deck. It smelled of oil and metal, but it was quiet. Stay here. Don't make a sound, Rena whispered. The ship shook as it docked with Nova Bridge. Boots thudded above. Voices barked orders. Lyra pressed her baby close, heart racing. If they found her, they'd separate her from her child. Maybe worse. Minutes felt like hours then. A sound. Footsteps, heavy, slow. A flashlight beam flicked across. The crates. Someone was checking the storage rooms. Lyra held her breath. The baby whimpered. The light stopped. Is someone there? A voice asked. Silence. The light moved on. Footsteps faded. Then, nothing. Lyra waited. Still, cold, afraid. Finally, after what felt like forever. Rena returned. They're gone, she whispered. We're clear, but we have to move now. Might come back. The next stop was a tiny spaceport called Elarinine. It wasn't big, but it was outside the major system controls. Perfect for those who didn't want to be found. When the ship landed, Lyra didn't hesitate. She took her child and stepped into a new world. The sky was purple. The ground was warm. Strange trees lined the port road. People bustled in every direction, selling food, fixing ships, arguing in alien tongues. It was strange, but free. Rena stayed with her for 2 days, helped her find a cheap room, bought her warm food, and then she was gone. I've got my own ghosts, she said, but you've got something worth protecting. Lyra hugged her. Thank you. Don't thank me, Rena replied. Live, that's enough. Weeks passed. Lyra found small jobs, washing, carrying, cleaning. She kept her head down. The baby grew stronger, smiling now. Learning to laugh, they had no toys, no comforts, but they had each other, Lyra told her. Stories about stars and safe places, about brave humans and hidden doors. About a man who refused to hurt her. She didn't tell the baby everything, not yet, but one day, she would. One night, while walking home from work, Lyra passed a broken screen flickering with news. Something caught her eye. Black Hold Station raid. Human smuggler exposed. Assumed dead. Name, Elias Marone. Her breath stopped. A blurry photo appeared. His face not smiling, not afraid, just still. The report said Elias had saved over 20 alien women before vanishing in the attack. No body had been found. Lyra touched the screen, tears burning her eyes. He was gone, but not forgotten. He hadn't just saved her, he'd fought for all of them. That night, as she held her daughter close under the dim sky of Ellaraine, Lyra made a promise. You'll grow up. Free, you'll never be owned, never be sold, because one man cared enough to break the chain. And that was enough to give her strength for the next day and the next. And whatever came after, life on Ellaraine was quiet. But it was not easy. Lyra worked long hours in a small kitchen at the edge of the market district. The alien owner, a heavyset man with 4 arms and a tired smile, didn't ask questions. He paid her in warm meals and safe space. That was enough. Her baby, Mira, was growing quickly. She had bright golden eyes like her father, a man Lyra had never spoken of, not even to herself. The days were filled with work and tired walks. The nights were cold and quiet. Still, for the first time in a long time, Lyra felt like she could breathe. But peace is never safe for long. One afternoon, as she wiped a table, outside the kitchen, she saw a shadow, tall, broad, wearing human armor. Her heart stopped. She bent her head, hoping he would pass. But he didn't. The man stopped a few feet away. "You're Lyra, right?" She froze. "No," she said quickly. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said, holding up both hands. "My name is Jace. I worked with Elias." Her heart twisted. Elias. She looked up slowly. Jace had dark eyes and a scar running down one cheek. He looked tired, more soldier than hero. "You knew him?" she asked, barely a whisper. Jace nodded. "He sent me a message before the black hole explosion. Told me if he didn't make it, I should find you." Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "He didn't make it." "I know," Jace said softly. "But you did. And so did your child." They sat together after her shift. She kept Myra close while they talked in a quiet corner behind the kitchen. "He saved a lot of people, you know," Jace said. "But you were different. He didn't just want to rescue you, cared about you." Lyra didn't speak for a moment. Then she said, "He was kind to me when no one else was." Jace nodded. "That's who he was." He pulled a small data chip from his coat. "He left this for you, said you'd understand." Lyra took it with shaking fingers. Later that night, when Myra was asleep beside her, Lyra plugged the chip into her old communicator. The screen blinked, then a video played. Elias appeared. He looked tired, bruised, but alive. "If you're seeing this, Lyra, it means I didn't make it," his voice said. She pressed a hand to her mouth. "I don't regret anything. You were worth it. Mira was worth it. I only wish I could have seen you both safe. Hope you found peace. Hope you remember me." The video ended. Lyra sat in silence, tears running down her face. Then she smiled a small, painful smile. "I remember," she whispered, the next day. Jace returned. "There's more," he said. Elias had a plan. He wanted to create a safe route, a way to help alien women escape systems like black hole. He called it the Star Path. Lyra blinked. "But he's gone." "I'm not," Jace said. "And you're still here. You know what it's like. You could help." Lyra hesitated. She had a child now, a fragile piece. "I have Mira," she said. "We'll protect her," Jace promised. "You won't be alone." That night, Lyra thought about all the women still trapped, still suffering. She remembered the cold rooms, the hungry eyes, the fear. She looked at Mira sleeping peacefully, safe, warm, fed. Maybe it was time to fight again, but not with guns. With hope, within weeks, she joined Jace's team. They used old smuggler paths, hidden codes, and secret ships. They slipped into shadowed planets, found the hidden houses, and pulled women into the light. Lyra became known across the systems as the Star Mother. To some, she was a ghost, to others, a legend. But to the women she saved, she was a lifeline. On her fourth mission, she returned to the edges of black-holed space. It felt like a nightmare. The memories returned in flashes, cages, collars, cold nights, but now she had purpose. They found a group of 5 women in an underground cell. One of them looked just like Lyra had, tired, shaking, holding a small child. Lyra held out her hand. "Come with me. You're not property anymore. You're free." When the ship returned to Alaranine, Mira ran into her arms. "Mama?" she shouted. Laughing, Lyra held her close, tears in her eyes. "I'm here, baby. I'm always coming back." She didn't wear armor. She didn't carry weapons. But Lyra was a warrior now, because Elias had believed in her, because she had found strength, because her story wasn't just about survival. It was about saving others, one light at a time. Lyra thought she had seen the worst. She had escaped. Black hold. She had carried pain in her bones, memories that haunted every quiet night. But the deeper she went into the shadows of the galaxy, the more she realized her story was not unique. There were hundreds like her, thousands each time she returned from a mission. The weight grew heavier, yet she never stopped. Not when her feet ached, not when the ships broke down mid-flight, not even when Myra asked, "Mama, why do you leave so much?" Because she couldn't look away. Not now. The 6th mission took her far from Alaranine, past the edges of known star routes, into a broken, half-forgotten moon orbiting a dead world. The place was called Ravik Crater, a secret holding cell for trafficked alien women. No records, no patrols, no laws. Just dark money and darker souls. Jace and Lyra entered as buyers. Fake IDs, fake credits, real danger. Inside the holding structure, they walked through halls filled with sorrow. Glass cells, silent screams, eyes that had lost hope. Lyra kept her voice steady, her back straight. But inside, her heart was breaking again. They found her on Level 3, a young alien woman with silver skin and blue eyes. She was badly injured, barely able to sit. Next to her, a child no older than Mira sat silently, holding the woman's hand. "She's my sister," the child whispered when Lyra knelt beside her. The guard looked away. He didn't care. Jace leaned in. "We'll take both." The guard smiled. "You want broken things?" Lyra's voice was cold. "We'll take what we came for." Caney out was not easy. Their exit plan failed. The power grid surged. An alarm screamed through the facility. JACE drew his weapon. "Go." Lyra grabbed the girl and her sister, running through a service tunnel while red lights blinked overhead. Behind her, footsteps pounded, shots fired. Walls shook, but she didn't stop. She didn't look back. She had done that once before. She wouldn't do it again. They reached the shuttle just in time. Jace limped. Blood on his shoulder, the door sealed. Engines flared. They escaped, barely back on Alaranine. Medics worked quickly. The older girl, barely 19, survived. She had a name, Vina. Her sister, the quiet child, was named Sori. When Vina woke up, the first thing she said was, "Are we free?" Lyra held her hand. Yes. Vina wept. Later that night, Jace and Lyra sat beneath the stars. His shoulder was bandaged. She had a bruise on her cheek. They shared silence for a while. Then Jace said, "We can't keep this up." Lyra nodded. "I know." He looked at her. "You're a mother, Lyra, and you've done more than anyone. Maybe it's time to stop." But she shook her head slowly. "No," she said. It's time to grow. Jace raised an eyebrow. Grow. We don't just save them one by one anymore, Lyra said. We build something bigger. A network. A real place. Safe homes. A path that doesn't end in darkness. Jace smiled faintly. Starpath 2.0. Lyra chuckled. No more hiding. We do this in the open, and not just us. We find others. He nodded. It'll be dangerous. It always is, she said. The next weeks were full of movement. They reached out to old friends of Elias, smugglers who owed him favors, mercenaries with tired hearts, medical droids with nothing to lose, even a former planetary governor. A woman who had once escaped slavery herself agreed to help. Together, they began building the sanctuary, a safe station hidden in an asteroid field. Protected, secure, not just a stop, a home. Vina helped too. She was strong despite her injuries. She had ideas, plans. And Sori smiled more now. Mira played with her often. Two children who had been born into fear, now laughing in open air. One night, Lyra stood on the edge of the observation deck. The stars stretched out before her. She closed her eyes, and for the first time, she felt peace. But she knew it wouldn't last. Darkness was still out there. Blackhold wasn't dead. Others would come. Buyers, hunters, monsters in fine clothes. But Lyra would be ready. Not with fear, with light. Because she was no longer just a victim. She was no longer just a survivor. She was a warrior, a Pi, protector, a mother of many. And her fight had only just begun. The sanctuary had become more than just a secret place. It was alive every day. More girls arrived, rescued from the dark corners of the galaxy. Some were young, some broken, all survivors. Lyra welcomed them like family. There were medics, guards, volunteers, even teachers. Jace worked on security, building shields and tracking systems. Vina, though still healing, had become a leader. Her voice carried strength. The girls listened when she spoke. And Mira laughed again. She played with the rescued children, sharing her toys and stories. She no longer asked why her mother was always sad. For once, it felt like peace. But peace never lasts. It started with whispers, a destroyed freighter found drifting near the outer zone. No signs of life. Then, a message short, coded, just one word. Run. Lyra's heart sank. JSC read the scan results. The ship was from Ornox Prime. That's black hole territory. Vina leaned forward. Are they coming here? Jace looked. At Lyra, she didn't blink. Yes, and they won't come quietly. The next day, a patrol drone picked up movement near the asteroid belt. Too far to see clearly, but something was out there. Big, fast, and armed. Lyra stood before the council that night. Volunteers, smugglers, ex-soldiers, and survivors gathered in the central hall. They know about us, she said. We don't know how, but they're coming. Should we evacuate? Someone asked. Jace shook his head. If we run, they'll find us again. They won't stop. They'll just burn everything we build. A silence followed. Lyra looked at each face. We built this place so no one would ever feel afraid again. If we leave now, everything we've done means nothing. But we aren't soldiers, said a woman in the crowd. Lyra's voice was calm. No, but we are not slaves anymore either. They started preparing. The children were moved to the inner caverns, safe. Hidden places under heavy shields. Vina trained girls who wanted to fight. Jace reprogrammed turrets and drones. Even Mira helped drawing signs for the safe zones with her crayons, so the little ones wouldn't get lost. Lyra walked the halls every night. She checked the locks. She spoke to the girls. She whispered strength into their tired hearts. She remembered her first night in Blackhold. She remembered the cold metal floors, the cruel eyes, the fear, and she swore. Not again. 2 days later, the enemy arrived. 4 warships, Blackhold symbols, burned on their hulls like scars. They sent a message, it played on every screen. A voice, male, smooth, cold, return the stolen property, or be destroyed. Jace muttered, property. That's what they still call them, Lyra answered. Then we showed them they were never just property. The battle started fast. Missiles struck the outer shields. Alarms blared. Dust shook from the ceiling. JACE yelled into the comms, defense drones, launch. Dozens of small fighter bots zipped through the black sky. They darted between enemy ships like angry insects, drawing fire. Distracting cannons dot inside the station. Defense lines were formed. Girls with plasma pistols. Volunteers with rifles. Vina led a group of former slaves who had learned to fight like soldiers. Lyra stayed at the heart, directing, leading, standing tall. Every explosion outside echoed in her chest, but she didn't flinch. Then the invaders landed. They weren't many, maybe 20, but they were elite, armored, armed. Cruel. They entered the main corridor, but the girls were ready. A fierce firefight broke out. Blaster. Bolts lit up the hallway. Screams, smoke, shouting. Lyra helped Mira and Sori hide deeper inside, then returned. To the front, she found Vina facing off against one of the invaders. Vina's arm was bleeding. The man was twice her size, but she didn't back down. Lyra, he didn't hesitate. She fired. One shot clean. The invader dropped. Vina looked at her. Thanks. Lyra nodded. We hold the line. The battle raged for 2 hours, but slowly, the enemy began to retreat. Their ships took damage. Their men fell one by one, and they weren't used to losing. The last invader ran for his shuttle. He looked at Lyra and growled, "You'll regret this." She raised her blaster. "No," she said, "you will." She fired. He never reached the door. Later, silence returned. The halls were smoky. Bodies lay still. But Sanctuary stood. They had one dot, at a cost. 7 girls wounded, 1 man dead, but they were free, still free, and the enemy now knew. This wasn't a place to steal from. This was a place of fighters, a place of light. That night, Lyra sat beside Mira's bed. The child was sleeping peacefully. JSC walked in quietly, his arm in a sling. "Think they'll come back?" he asked. Lyra whispered, "Maybe, but we'll be ready." He smiled. "You're not the same woman who came to Alaranine." "No." She said softly, "Now I'm something more." After the battle, there was silence. Not the silence of peace, but of healing. The sanctuary was still standing, but wounds remained. Some were physical, like burn marks and broken walls. Others were inside the kind of pain no medicine could fix. Lyra moved through the corridors, helping wherever she could. She changed bandages. She listened to the stories of those who fought. She hugged the girls who cried quietly in corners, shaken by the violence. But she also saw something beautiful. They were not broken. They were stronger now. Even Mira. Her daughter had changed. The little girl no longer asked if they were safe. She stood taller. She helped care for younger children. One night, Lyra heard Mira whisper a lullaby to a new baby, a girl born just a week after the battle. It reminded Lyra why this place mattered. Not for weapons, not for war, but for life. One morning, Jace brought news. "There's someone here." "To see you," he said. Lyra looked up. "Who?" "A reporter," Jace said. "From the neutral zone. Says she's doing a piece on survivor colonies. Lyra frowned. And how did she find us? Jace shrugged. She didn't. One of the girls reached out. She wanted the galaxy to know what really happened here. Lyra took a deep breath. All right. Let her in. The reporter's name was Nyla. She was young, human, with bright eyes and a small camera drone floating beside her. She asked permission before recording anything. She moved slowly, respectfully. She spoke to the girls. She listened. Then she sat. With Lyra in the garden, a small place where flowers from dozens of worlds grew in quiet beauty. I've seen many things, Nyla said, but never something like this. Why are you not hiding? Lyra looked up at the stars. Because we're done hiding. But aren't you afraid? Lyra smiled sadly. Every day, but fear didn't stop them from hurting us. A teen. And it won't stop us from living now. The story was published. Every newsnet carried it. The sanctuary that fought back. It went viral. Millions read about the rescued girls. The brutal slave markets. The brave stand against the black hole. Invaders and donations began to pour in. Medical supplies, food, even offers of help. Ex-soldiers, engineers, pilots. The sanctuary was no longer alone. But fame brought danger too. Whispers spread that the black hole had placed a bounty on Lyra's head. 1 million credits, alive or dead. One night, Lyra woke to Mira crying. She rushed to her daughter's room. The child was sitting up, her small body trembling. I saw them, Mira whispered. The men with masks. They were taking you. Lyra hugged her tight. It was just a dream. Mira looked into her eyes. You have to promise. You won't leave me. Lyra held her close. I promise, as long as I breathe. But inside, she felt a cold truth. She couldn't make that promise real. Not in this galaxy. That same week, Jace discovered something strange. An encrypted message, hidden in a donation file. Lyra and Vina. Read it together. It wasn't a trap. It was a map and a plea. From another group of enslaved girls far away. Deep in a system controlled by a ruthless warlord named Koresh. We are kept in cages. We have heard of the sanctuary. If you are real, please help. Lyra's hands shook as she read it. They need us, she said. Jace looked concerned. It could be a trap. It could also be truth, Vina said. We were them once. Lyra nodded. We have to go. Planning the mission wasn't easy. The sanctuary needed protection, but rescue teams had to be sent too. Lyra decided to go herself. Jace argued, You're the heart of this place. If something happens, Lyra stopped him. That's why I have to go. They need hope. They need to see me. Not a soldier. Not a machine. Me. Jace knew she wouldn't change her mind, so he just nodded. Then I'm going with you. The ship was small, fast, quiet. Lyra, Jace, Vina, and 3 volunteers boarded it before leaving. Mira came to her mother. She handed her a small cloth doll. You forgot this, she said. Lyra took it slowly. It was old, worn, Mira's favorite. I want her to protect you, the girl said. Lyra knelt down. She will. And I'll come back to you. Mira smiled. I know, because you're stronger than them. Lyra kissed her forehead. The ship's engines began to hum as they launched into the stars. Lyra held the doll close. They were going back into darkness, but now they carried light. They carried a name whispered across the galaxy. The sanctuary, the underground lab, was cold, silent and hidden beneath what looked like an abandoned warehouse. No one would suspect that behind the rusted steel door lay a secret that could rewrite the future of 2 species, Cade held Lyra's hand tightly as they walked through the dim corridors. Her skin trembled against his, part from fear, part from something else she couldn't name yet. She had trusted him this far. Trusted him with her body, with her daughter, and now with her life. Beside them, the alien child, tiny and sleepy, rested. In Cade's arms, he had insisted on carrying her, not just because she was tired, because she mattered. The scientist who greeted them wasn't what Lyra expected. He was old, human, with kind eyes and shaking hands. "You're the one," he whispered, peering at the child. She single quotes as ... pure alien. Lyra stepped forward. Protectively, "She's not a test subject. She's my daughter." Cade nodded. "We didn't come here to exploit her. We came to protect her." The old man nodded slowly, then gestured them into a sterile room. "Then, listen closely. 'Cause the people who want her, they'll stop at nothing." They sat in a small glass room as the scientist explained. Decades ago, Earth's governments made secret deals with alien traffickers. In exchange for technology, they offered access to genetic samples, code words for hybrid children like Lyra's baby. But most humans never knew. The few who did either disappeared or turned a blind eye. Cade clenched his jaw. That's why they wanted her. Not to hurt her, but to use her. Splice her genes, breed a new species. Lyra shook her head. "She's not a weapon. She's a child." "Mine," the scientist sighed. "That's why I'm helping you. It's you. Need to leave Earth tonight before they track you." Cade looked down at the sleeping child. A soft coo escaped her lips. She looked peaceful, safe, for now. Lyra whispered, "I don't want to run. I want to fight." The scientist gave her a long look. "Then you'll need allies." Hours later, the three of them climbed aboard an old smuggler ship. It wasn't much rusted and small, but it could fly. And it was unregistered. Cade knew flying, it meant becoming a fugitive, a traitor to his species. But what kind of human allowed a child to be sold? What kind of man allowed someone like Lyra to be caged? He touched the control panel. "You trust me?" Lyra nodded. "I already do." The ship lifted from the ground, breaking into the upper atmosphere. As Earth shrank below them, the tension in Cade's chest loosened just a little. But the moment was brief. An alarm blared on the console. "Inbound lock detected." "Multiple pursuit vessels," Cade cursed. "They found us." The chase began. Sleek black ships tailed them military grade, no doubt sent by the same people who had caged Lyra months ago. They didn't fire yet. But they didn't have to. Lyra held her child close. "They'll shoot us down." "Not if I lose them first," Cade growled, turning the ship hard left. Diving into a debris field above the moon. Metal scraped the hull. Lights flickered. But the smaller ship had one advantage: Cade's piloting. He weaved through broken satellites and shattered junk like a man with nothing left to lose. But then static. A voice cut through the comms. "Cade Monroe. Surrender. The hybrid and no harm will come to you. This is your only warning." He stared at the speaker for a long second. Then he clicked the mic on. "No, missiles launched. One missed. Two didn't." The ship rocked violently. Sparks flew. Smoke filled the cabin. "We're hit." Cade yelled, "Main thrusters offline." Lyra's eyes were wide with fear. "What do we do?" Cade stood up, ignoring the smoke, and opened a hidden panel. Inside, a single escape pod. "Get in," he said. Lyra shook her head. "What? No. Not without you." He looked at her with something deeper than fear. "They want the child, not me. If you don't leave now, they'll take her." Tears welled in her eyes. I won't let you die. Cade smiled softly. I already lived the day I met you. Let me end it protecting you. He placed the child in her arms, kissed the top of her head, and sealed the pod. With a loud hiss, it launched out into the Tadius. It launched out into the stars. Behind them, the ship burned. The escape pod tumbled through the silence of space, small, fragile, and alone. Inside, Lyra clutched her baby tightly, her heart still racing from the explosion. The last thing she saw before the pod sealed shut was Cade's face, smiling, full of the kind of love she'd never thought she'd know. Now, that face was gone, and all she could do was float. The child stirred, letting out a soft cry. Lyra rocked her gently, whispering promises she wasn't sure she could keep. It's okay, ... Mama's here. He saved us. She looked out the small window, praying that Cade had made it out too. But the stars gave no answers, just silence. The pod's tiny navigation screen blinked red dot auto guidance. Moonbase refuge to 33 minutes to landing. It was a rebel safe house, one of the few places not under control of the Earth Syndicate. Cade had planned everything. Even now, in his absence, he was protecting them. Lyra wiped her tears and forced herself to be strong. For her child, for Cade, for all the others who had no voice as the pod moved closer to the surface. The moon base came into view, a hidden dome tucked into a crater, its lights blinking like distant fireflies. She was not alone, not yet. When the pod landed with a soft jolt, rebel guards rushed in. One of them, a human woman with scars across her neck, opened the hatch. Identify yourself. Lyra held up the baby, her voice shaking. I'm not a threat, please. I'm just a mother. The woman's eyes softened when she saw the child. She lowered her weapon. Come with me. You're safe now. Inside, Lyra was taken to a small medical room. The doctor, a stern-looking alien with gray skin and warm eyes, checked both mother and child. She's healthy, the doctor said softly. Strong too. Her kind. They don't survive long out there. But yours? She's special. Lyra smiled weakly. Her father saved her. The doctor paused, reading between the lines. And he didn't make it. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe he did. I have to believe he did. She looked at the comm screen on the wall. No signal, no trace. Nothing. Hours passed. The rebels gave Lyra food, a room, and a chance to rest. But she couldn't sleep. She sat near the window, staring at the stars. Then a beep dot, the comm screen lit up. Static crackled. A distorted voice came through. Lyra, if you're hearing this. Her heart stopped. It was Cade. The signal was broken and weak, but the voice was clear enough to bring tears to her eyes. I don't have much time, Cade said. I'm alive, but I'm not free. He coughed. Machinery hummed in the background. They pulled me from the wreck. Said I was too valuable to waste. I'm in one of their black sites now. Underground, no sky, no sunlight. Lyra leaned forward, pressing her fingers to the screen. Where are you? She whispered, as if he could hear her. I don't know how long I can stay hidden. But I recorded this on a timed relay. Someone will send it when the rebels access the right channel. Cade's voice softened. I don't regret it, Lyra. Not a second of it. You and that little girl. You made me human again. Static crackled. The message was almost over. Don't come for me. Just raise her. Love her. Tell her. Her father didn't die a coward. The screen flickered. Then it went dark. Lyra sat frozen. The baby stirred beside her, small fingers reaching out. Lyra took her daughter into her arms and held her close, tears streaming down her face. He's alive, she whispered. He's alive. And then something changed in her eyes. She wasn't just a victim anymore, not just a survivor. She was a mother, a fighter. And the man she loved was still out there alone, hurting, but alive. She looked out the window again. But this time, she didn't feel helpless. She felt determined. The next morning, Lyra walked into the rebel command center. The woman with the scarred neck looked up from the map table. "You okay?" Lyra nodded. "Stronger now. I have a request." "Name it." "I need a team. A ship. A way to find the black sites." The woman raised an eyebrow. "You planning to start a war?" Lyra's eyes were fierce. "No. I'm planning to end one.